everyone, and welcome to this presentation about apprenticeships from Redrow Construction. So we have Ian and Tabby from Redrow today, and they're going to talk to you about all things apprenticeships. If you have any questions, please pop them in the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen, and we'll be able to answer those questions for you at the end of the session. But without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Tabby and Ian.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Tabby and I work at Redrow Homes, so I will tell you a little bit more about what our company does as we get into the presentation. But just to introduce myself, my role is external engagement advisor, so it's my job to attend events like today, to interact with schools, colleges, universities, to share all the brilliant opportunities that we have at Redrow. So whether you're a graduate looking for a sponsored degree programme, an apprenticeship, we want to be able to shout about them to people like you who are interested in joining the industry. I also get to work with some charities, which is really exciting, and it's a really varied role, and I love kind of interacting with you all and seeing how we might be able to help you out. I'm joined by my colleague Ian, so I'll let him tell you a bit about yourself before we launch into the presentation.
Hey guys, pleasure to be here. Thank you all for your time turning up today. Hopefully we can give you a bit more information about Redrow as a whole, a little bit more about construction apprenticeships and particularly obviously what we have on offer ourselves as a company. I work as what's called a new entrants officer for Redrow Homes. So we have a dedicated department for talent and early careers, specialising in people who are taking their first steps into the construction industry. Be that into an apprenticeship, a sponsored degree programme, graduate programme, whichever route sort of is best for you and works for you in order to get you into a construction industry. We're there to sort of put together a training programme for you to make the most out of your time with us. And that's part of my role, is to sort of facilitate that, help people into those early steps into their careers, and hopefully see them on to a fantastic career themselves, sort of as they either stay with us or move on to their own sort of career in the future elsewhere. Yeah, we have some fantastic opportunities. I'm really excited today to be able to share these with you. So,
absolutely. Right, I will share my screen. Fingers crossed this is seamless.
This is the bit where the technology either fails us or lets us go ahead there. So, it's crossed.
So, let's hope this loads. Can you see that okay, Ian?
That's fantastic. Looks to be presented. Fantastic.
Perfect. So, first things first. I'm not sure if any of you have heard of us. It'd be interesting to see if you're aware of us in the Q&A box, or if there's a comment section, just put either yes or no, just so we can gauge if people have heard of us before, if you've seen one of our building sites, or if you've come across us online. But essentially, we were set up back in 1974 by a man called Steve Morgan, who was only 21 at the time. And he set up a small civil engineering company called Redrow with a £5,000 loan from his dad. So pretty good dad, if you ask me. And it's kind of gone on from there. Lots of people ask us about where Redrow comes from, and it actually comes from the name of two streets where Steve lived when he was younger. So Redwood Drive and Harrow Drive. So we combined them, and here we are. We've got Redrow. So initially, many of the early contracts were sewers, roads, and civil engineering schemes. And it wasn't actually until 1983 that Redrow embarked on its first major house building development at a site in North Wales. And that's actually where I'm sort of broadcasting live from, I suppose. That's where our head office has stayed pretty much up until now. We've just moved slightly over the border from Denbigh into Flintshire. Fast forward 40 years and we find ourselves now as one of the UK's largest and most successful home builders. So we've won an array of awards and we're really renowned for the quality of our homes, and it's something we're really proud of. We've expanded to be 13 divisions across England and Wales, so as far north as Yorkshire, and then we have our Southern Counties division in Kent. We've got one in Basingstoke, across in Bristol, and also obviously in London, and we've currently got about 130 live developments, so a large number of sites that we're working on, and lots of people working hard to build some of our homes. One of the things we're most renowned for is actually our garden villages, and that's something we take really seriously. And rather than just kind of throwing up any old houses, one of the things that's really important for us at Redrow is to develop communities. So our developments are usually around There can be sort of 100 to over 2,000 homes, but we're really passionate about making sure that we build thriving communities. So we want to provide lots of open green spaces so people can access leisure activities, nature, easy access for transport, cycle paths, those kind of things, and offer a wide range of house types so we can make sure we've got a real mix of people living on our developments who are all coming together and helping to build a real thriving community. And obviously COVID has been a tricky old year for us all, but despite this, we're in a really fortunate position. Our last half year report showed that we've got record sales and our profits are actually up 20%. So as an industry and as a business, we're actually in a really, really fortunate place. So it's a great industry to get into and really robust in the face of, you know, crisis, let's face it. Moving on, just to tell you a little bit about our people, and people are really at the heart of absolutely everything we do. We currently employ around 2,300 people, so quite a lot of people are employed by us directly, but if you then add on to that our subcontractors, we're suddenly in the sort of tens of thousands of people who are all working on Redrow sites or in Redrow offices across the country. So there's quite a few of us. At any one time, we hope that around 15% of the employees in our business are trainees, so that could be apprentices, undergraduates, trainees, graduates, and we really hope that some of you out there who are watching today could be one of the next lot coming in and joining us. In our latest staff survey, about 93% of our staff have said that they're proud to work for us, and 92% would recommend us as a place to work for a friend. So that hopefully gives you a bit of an idea of we're a really good company to work for. We look after you. We care about you, not just professionally, but also personally, and want to take care of your well-being and your development in your career. So this is where I kind of hope some of you won't leave me hanging too much. Construction is renowned for kind of being many myths and misconceptions around what it is and what it entails. If any of you wouldn't mind just perhaps writing in the Q&A box a few thoughts, what does construction mean to you, or what do you think about it? What are perhaps some of the misconceptions that you often hear flying about?
It can be single words, guys, if there's words that sort of that you've heard mentioned about construction, or some of the things when you think about construction, what some of the words that pop into your mind. Obviously, please put that into the Q&A box. So we've got a family connection here, so a family sort of into construction. That's quite good.
Yeah, absolutely.
A positive one. That's good.
Definitely, we've got quite a few of those.
You guys are going to leave us hanging, aren't you? You're going to leave us hanging, and with no answers there put into the boxes. So come on, guys.
That's fine. Leave me hanging. I will run through some of the ones that Ian and I sort of most often hear when we're at a career fair or something like that. That it's dangerous, that it's unsafe, just for boys. There's limited career potential. It's just working out in the cold. It's bad for the environment. It's disruptive. Are these quite common things that we hear quite frequently? And actually, they're all a load of rubbish. Construction is actually exciting. It's absolutely everywhere, especially in the UK. It's one of the safest industries. It's inclusive. We've got women who are site managers at all levels of the business, and it's really well paid as well. So, I mean, I wish I'd trained in a trade now, definitely. It's skills, and there are so many opportunities. If you can just get your foot in the door, work hard, the world is your oyster really in construction. And I know Ian will now tell you a few stories about some of our star apprentices who can kind of hopefully prove what we're saying and what we're preaching. I will hand over to you, Ian.
Thank you. So when we were putting together this presentation, Tabby asked me sort of to think of some of our apprentices, and I think we must have spent something like half an hour, 45 minutes just listing off success stories and fantastic stories of people. But we've chosen these three in particular, just to sort of highlight sort of the different avenues inside construction. So I'll talk about Scott first. Scott came from a background where he was struggling with school. He didn't really enjoy the school environment. He didn't like the classroom environment, and he wanted to be a bit more hands-on. He wanted to learn by doing something. He wanted to sort of get out there in the industry and learn a practical trade. I don't know if any of you have seen the BBC documentary, The 9 to 5ers with Stacey Dooley. We've had Quite a few people sort of comment on that recently. And one of the lads on there was a very similar kind of thing in that he wanted to get out and do something practical, hands-on. Scott decided to train as a bricklayer, and he spent 3 years training as a level 3 bricklayer. He then finished with us a couple of years ago, set up his own business, and started running his own bricklaying business. He's now earning in the region of about 70 to 80,000 pound a year. He's actually paid off his first house. He's planning on collecting multiple houses as part of his sort of property guruship. And he knows he's got his construction career to sort of thank for that, that he's got those kind of skills that are incredibly well paid, incredibly highly skilled, and we'll see him sort of for the future. Then we have Rosie. Rosie joined us as a business administration apprentice. She came into the role not knowing what she wanted to do yet, but knew she wanted to work in business somewhere. She joined us. She became an absolute force of nature in her role. She qualified up to a level 3 in business administration. And we gave her the opportunity to do a rotation around the business, to basically try out different avenues of the business, working in our land departments, commercial, technical, sales, construction departments, to see where she would best be able to apply her skills. In the end, she decided that she would actually like to pursue a career in construction management. So we supported her on then to pursue qualifications. And now she's currently a level 4 qualified assistant site manager in our Southwest region. With a promising career ahead of her, sort of onto site management, project management, and then do upper echelons from there. So from someone starting out into a business admin, not knowing where she wanted to go, she then found her calling and found what she was good at, and that's where she sort of headed down. Akil was actually on our Colindale site based in London. Akil came to us from an interesting background. He had been approached by a lot of sort of a gang culture within the area, of people that wanted to recruit Akil to come and work with them and obviously do things that aren't exactly legal. Akil turned this down and he decided that instead of doing something disreputable or something that wasn't going to sort of do any good for him in the long term, he wanted to earn and learn. So he came to us as an apprentice. He wanted to be a plasterer. He'd heard there was good money in that. So we trained him as a plasterer. He now works for one of the largest plastering companies in London called Gypcraft. He's working for them. He's earning a very, very good living out of it. I said 50, 60,000 pound a year is not unusual for what Akil's earning at the moment. And since then, he's become a very sort of big advocate himself for sort of what a construction career can really do for you. And he knows that he's worked hard for everything that he's got, and he sort of promotes that himself sort of to all the people he speaks to. And again, he could have took an easy route or a route that was potentially obviously hazardous to himself and obviously illegal as well. But he actually chose, no, instead I'm going to work hard and really kind of make the most of my career. So they're just 3 examples of 3 people sort of across Redrow. We could sit here and talk to you for hours about all the other success stories within Redrow and all these people that have had great construction careers and have gone on to either work self-employed or develop within the business themselves.
Absolutely.
So we'll give you a little bit of an overview about our actual apprenticeship programs and sort of the specifics of it. So you probably want some details on that. But I mean, feel free, if there's any questions, just chuck them in the question box and we'll answer them at the end. We roughly have 5 areas that come under our apprenticeships. We have our construction trade, which is based out on site. We have our commercial and our technical apprenticeships for those wanting to be quantity surveyors, designers, engineers. I want to do sort of the more mathematical focused office-based work. We have customer service and business admin apprentices for those that want to get into business, but not necessarily sure where you want to go yet. But it's a good foundation to sort of get in through the door and then learn and understand what it's like to work in a business environment. From there, you'll go on to earn industry recognised qualifications. You'll earn a salary while you're doing so. Any college days or training you're expected to attend, you get paid to go to. I'm pretty sure no one's paying you to go to school at the moment, which, fantastic for an opportunity with an apprenticeship to do that. You'll learn on the job. You'll get actual experience of a real live workplace. We don't work in simulated environments or pretend work. You're working on live projects from day one. And it's a real good way to sort of jumpstart your way into a career in construction. Following on from your apprenticeship, our apprentices choose a number of different routes. Some go on sort of train in management if they've got that leadership potential in them. Others choose to go and run their own business. Some get promoted within the company internally. Others will transfer within the business. We talked about Rosie there. Others move on to sponsored degree programs. They'll come from a trade program and decide that they want to move into construction management or quantity surveying. Again, we'll support that and sort of develop that person's potential. I suppose a shameless plug now. We're going to talk about a little bit, sorry, excuse me, about actually how to apply for these vacancies. So we do actually currently have some construction trade apprenticeship vacancies available for our Colindale Gardens development, which is based in Barnet. based at the Colindale train station. You'll be able to apply for that on our Redrow Careers website, which is on the screen just now. So we'll make these sort of links available, and I believe Middlesex University have created a web page specifically with all the links on for all these kind of things as well that you'll be able to access after these talks. So again, shameless plug there. I'm not ashamed. I'm going to be sort of talking. I'm really keen to get some of you guys interested in construction, and obviously you can go on and have those success stories later on.
Absolutely. So just a bit of an overview then on the kind of person we're looking for, and because it's not just all about your qualifications, we want you to come to us with the right attitude and the right behaviours. We're looking for somebody who's really enthusiastic, whether you're really passionate about becoming a bricklayer or you really want to go and work in one of our offices and in business admin. Be passionate and be interested in what it is that you want to go into, and we will match that enthusiasm and we will support you all the way. It's an apprenticeship and you will be balancing work with studies and learning. So we want you to be able to be responsible and be capable of independent learning, being able to manage your time and understand that perhaps you might not be able to go out every week, and not that anybody can at the moment, and there will need to be that that kind of balance of taking the time and the work, and you'll get there and you'll be supported. We also want you to be really driven to succeed, so it's okay if you don't have an end goal at the moment. It's just that desire to work hard and to achieve, and we will help support you no matter what. We're looking for people who are self-starters, who've got that get up and go and that great work ethic. If you can come to work every day, give it your all, that's all we can ask for, really. So just think about, if you are looking to apply, what personal qualities that you have that you think really stick out and really set you apart as well.
Okay, so Tabby mentioned obviously about qualifications, so we'll talk about some of that just as a little bit. It is desirable, we'd like you to have an English and maths at grade 4 or C as it was in old money, although that's not mandatory. For the right candidate, with the person with the right attitude, the right work ethic, we will support you to achieve your maths and English development through something called functional skills training, which you'll do in a college environment. So although we'd like English and maths, we are willing to sort of work with you for the right person. When we're looking at your CVs, it's a question I get asked all the time. They say, what kind of things do you look for in candidates on a CV? When we're looking at a CV, most recruiters will spend somewhere between 45 seconds to a minute looking at CV, so a very short amount of time. The things they're kind of looking to stand out are maybe some of the other subjects that you're studying, particularly say if you're going for one of the roles in a technical based environment. Maybe we might look and see if you've done anything in product design or art, or you've shown a sort of prior interest in that kind of thing. We look at extracurricular activities. You know, are you involved in out-of-school clubs? Are you involved in a football team, a rugby team? Do you run the chess club for your school? Anything that shows that you're doing something out of school and a bit more sort of that requires you to get up and go. It shows that self-startership. We're also interested in your hobbies and interests as well. We don't just hire grades. We don't just hire traits of a personality. We're hiring a person, and your hobbies and interests, they say a lot about you. They say a lot about the kind of person you are, and we want to make sure that we've got the right fit for the person into our apprenticeship schemes, and make sure that you're the right fit for the construction industry to obviously take you as far as you want to go.
Absolutely. And I think, if I'm right, that brings us to the end, and we will pass over the baton to you to ask any questions that you might have. I'll stop sharing my screen, and Ian and I can answer anything that you might want to know.
I just want to say thank you so much for giving such an informative presentation. There was so much in there. So thank you so much for taking your time to give us that presentation. So we've got a couple of questions in the Q&A box. So one of them is, should I do a college course level 2 before I apply for a construction apprenticeship?
That's an interesting question. It depends. That's not going to be the best answer for you. Some apprenticeship programs, they will have prerequisites to say that if you've already completed a level 2, that they won't be willing to take you on board because they want to train you at a level 2 level, and so forth. They want you to sort of have the training from them instead. For our particular apprenticeships, we don't discriminate against that. We will work with somebody who already has a level 2 and work at sort of infilling your skills. What I would say is if you do already have a level 2 qualification, I would expect to do some repetition. Most apprenticeships, especially entry-level apprenticeships in the UK, tend to be pitched at level 2. So it may be that you have some degree of repetition in some of the work. It won't be everything, but prepare yourself for that. There's always going to be a work with apprenticeship that is a mix between the college learning, the skills side, as well as the vocational learning, the on-site side. And that's the difference between an apprenticeship and a college course, is you're going to have that vocational element where you're going to be learning on the job. You're going to be learning from skilled craftsmen or skilled engineers, architects and designers around you that are going to be teaching you their skills. So that's the difference there, is that you're going to have a degree of repetition with the college side, but you're going to get so much more from that vocational element.
Thank you for that, Ian. And then we've got one other question. So what is the minimum qualifications needed for an electrician apprenticeship?
Okay, good question. So we actually don't operate electrical or plumbing apprenticeships anymore. It's something that we did used to do, but there's all kind of complicated reasons for it, down to the type of evidence requirements and things that you need to be able to fulfill. It's very difficult for our style of building to get those kind of evidence requirements needed, but I can definitely give you some advice on that. For electrical apprenticeships, they're generally going to be looking at you to have a good solid maths grade. They'd probably like to get a 5 and above, most people, because when you get into an electrical qualification, the maths does actually step up to quite a high level. I'd say A-level equivalent minimum it would be at that kind of level you expected to study. So they want to see that you've got a good foundation there. So again, English and maths is definitely something they'd look at. They also, a bit of an odd requirement, but they also check to see whether you're colourblind. Unfortunately, if you're colourblind, you can't actually accredit yourself as an electrician or a plumber. Because you're not able to recognise which wires are safe and so forth. It sounds quite discriminative, and it seems quite old-fashioned, considering there are ways around that these days. But unfortunately, it's one of the things that the industry has as a qualifying minimum standard. If you've done a level 2 qualification in college, an electro-technical installation or something to that respect, that would also be a great foundation to get yourself started with a level 3 apprenticeship.
Thank you for that, Ian. So I think that's all we have time for today. If anyone has any other questions, please pop them into the Q&A button. But if we don't, you'll be able to find this recording and all the other recordings on our webpage, along with all the websites available as well. So you can go onto the Redrow website if you wanted to apply for an apprenticeship and have a look further into the different apprenticeships available. But thank you again, and I hope everyone has a lovely afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.